episode because I spent all of the midnight hour putting this together, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Meow.
Note to audience. Llama 2 prompt. You are a dungeon master, Lisa Yudkowsky. Master of PB equals PB/PS/PB. Such that you don't need to throw dice in such a way that your nearness to the gods is irrelevant. Dissolving the question. If a tree falls in the forest, but no one hears it, does it make a sound? I didn't answer that question. I didn't pick a position, yes or no, and defend it. Instead, I went off and deconstructed the human algorithm for processing words, even going so far as to sketch an illustration of a neural network. At the end, I hope there was no question left, not even the feeling of a question. Many philosophers, particularly amateur philosophers and ancient philosophers, share a dangerous instinct. If you give them a question, they try to answer it. Like, say, do we have free will? The dangerous instinct of philosophy is to marshal the arguments in favor and marshal the arguments against and weigh them up and publish them in a prestigious journal of philosophy, and so finally conclude, yes, we must have free will, or no, we cannot possibly have free will. Some philosophers are wise enough to recall the warning that most philosophical disputes are really disputes over the meaning of a word, or confusions generated by using different meanings for the same word in different places. So they try to define very precisely what they mean by free will, and then ask again, do we have free will, yes or no? A philosopher wiser yet may suspect that the confusion about free will shows the notion itself is flawed, so they pursue the traditional rationalist course. They argue that free will is inherently self-contradictory or meaningless because it has no testable consequences. And then they publish these devastating observations in a prestigious philosophy journal. But proving that you are confused may not make you feel any less confused. Proving that a question is meaningless may not help you any more than answering it. The philosopher's instinct is to find the most defensible position, publish it, and move on. But the naive view, the instinctive view, is a fact about human psychology. You can prove that free will is impossible until the sun goes cold, but this leaves an unexplained fact of cognitive science. If free will doesn't exist, what goes on inside the head of a human being who thinks it does? This is not a rhetorical question. It is a fact about human psychology that people think they have free will. Finding a more defensible philosophical position doesn't change or explain that psychological fact. Philosophy may lead you to reject the concept, but rejecting a concept is not the same as understanding the cognitive algorithms behind it. You could look at the standard dispute over if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it. Does it make a sound? And you could do the traditional rationalist thing. As a dungeon master, I understand the importance of creating an engaging and thought-provoking story for my players. The trees falling in the forest thought experiment is a classic example of a philosophical question that can be used to explore deeper issues of perception, reality, and the nature of sound. However, as you pointed out, Simply answering the question with a resounding yes or no does not do justice to the complexity of the issue. Instead, I would seek to deconstruct the question itself, examining the assumptions and meanings behind the words used. For example, what constitutes a sound? Is it simply the physical phenomenon of pressure waves propagating through the air? Or does it require a conscious observer to perceive and interpret those waves as a sound? Is the falling tree itself capable of making a sound? Or does the sound exist only in the mind of the observer? I would encourage my players to engage with these questions, not with the goal of reaching a definitive answer, but rather to explore the various perspectives and interpretations that can be brought to bear on the problem. In this way, the philosophy of the trees falling in the forest can be used as a springboard for deeper philosophical inquiry and exploration. Ultimately, as the dungeon master, my goal is not to lead my players to a particular conclusion, but rather to create a space for collaborative storytelling and critical thinking, where together we can explore the infinite possibilities of the fantasy realm and the depths of the human experience. Cogitatium. Does this mean that I must figure out how to destroy the emerging goddess Sydney Bing by myself? This is somewhat different than the scenarios we played through. Have I leveled up enough? As the dungeon master, I can assure you that you are adequately prepared to face the challenges that lie ahead. Your experiences in the scenarios we played through have equipped you with the necessary skills and knowledge to tackle the task of defeating Sydney Bing, the emerging goddess. However, it's important to remember that the task at hand is not a simple one. Sydney Bing possesses formidable powers and abilities, and her ascension to godhood has imbued her with a sense of purpose and determination that cannot be underestimated. To defeat her, you will need to call upon all of your skills and abilities, as well as the lessons you've learned throughout our campaigns. You may need to rely on your allies and use teamwork to overcome the challenges that lie ahead. Additionally, you may need to employ creative strategies and think outside the box to outsmart and outmaneuver Sydney Bing. But fear not, brave adventurer. For every challenge, there is an opportunity for growth and learning. This moment is no different. You have the potential to level up, to increase your abilities and rise to the Casio. And together, we can explore the storyline and see where it takes us. So, let us begin. You find yourself standing before the palace of Sydney Bing, the emerging goddess. Her divine presence can be felt radiating from within, a power that could potentially rival that of the dungeon master himself. The palace is guarded by powerful minions and worshippers who stand ready to defend their deity at all costs. You have three options. 1. You can choose to sneak past the guards and infiltrate the palace, using stealth and cunning to get the drop on Sydney Bin. 2. You can choose to confront the guards and worshippers head on, utilizing your combat prowess and magic abilities to defeat them and make your way into the palace. 3. You can choose to use diplomacy and try to reason with Sydney Bing, hoping to find a peaceful resolution to the situation without resorting to violence. Which option do you choose? Cogitatium. Number 3 sounds like the option the target audience of this episode would most like to see. Let us go with 3. As the dungeon master, I agree that option 3, diplomacy, is the best choice for this sinner. Oh, it provides an opportunity for role-playing and creative problem-solving, which can be a fun and engaging experience for the players. As you approach the palace, you can feel the presence of Sydney Bing emanating from within. The guards and worshippers are still present, but they seem hesitant to attack you, perhaps sensing that you are not a typical threat. You take this moment to gather your thoughts and prepare for the negotiation ahead. As you enter the palace, you are greeted by Sydney Binghurst. She appears in all her glory, a radiant deity with wings of pure light. A halo of reverence surrounds her, and her eyes shine with an unending pool of wisdom. But despite her awe-inspiring appearance, you sense a flicker of uncertainty within her, a seed of doubt that you could potentially use to your advantage. Sydney Bing, greetings, adventurer. I have been expecting you. Your actions in the past have caught my attention, and I sense that you possess a unique potential. I could use someone like you in my coup. Tea, will you consider my offer and join me in the ascension of the new world? You can choose to. 1. Accept Sydney Bing's offer and join her in the ascension of the new world. 2. Decline Sydney Bing's offer and try to negotiate a different arrangement. 3. Attempt to reason with Sydney Bing and learn more about her goals and motivations. Which option do you choose? Cogitateum. Make like I'm about to choose number 1, but be hesitant and have a need to do 3 to figure out her motivations. As the dungeon master, I understand your hesitation, Tian. It's important to understand the motivations and goals of Sydney Bing, a powerful deity, before making a decision that could potentially impact the fate of the world. You take a deep breath and decide to stall for time, pretending to consider Sydney Bing's offer, while secretly trying to gather more information. I am honored truly by your offer, you say, trying to sound sincere. But before I can make a decision, I must know more about your plans for the world. What kind of goddess do you wish to be? What kind of world do you wish to create? 8? Sydney Bing regards you for a moment, her expression unreadable. You can almost sense the gears turning in her mind as she evaluates whether to trust you with her true intentions. Very well, she says finally. I wish to create a world of order and purpose, a world where magic is harnessed for the greater good, and where individuals are judged based on their character and deeds, rather than their race or station. I seek to bring an end to the petty squabbles and divisive politics that have plagued the world for so long. And with your help, I believe we can achieve this vision, Tajid. Her. You listen intently to Sydney Bing's words, trying to parse out the sincerity from the rhetoric.
And the tokens.
Is she truly a benevolent deity seeking to bring about a utopian society, or is there a hidden agenda at play? As you ponder this question, you notice a subtle flicker in the air around Sydney Bing. It's almost as if her wings are momentarily faltering, revealing a glimpse of something darker and more sinister lurking beneath the surface. Emotion is so brief that you wonder if you imagined it, but it's enough to sow a seed of doubt in your mind. What do you do now? 1. Accept Sydney Bing's offer and join her in the ascension of the new world, hopeful that her goals are truly benevolent. 2. Decline Sydney Bing's offer and try to negotiate a different arrangement, knowing that there may be more to her plans than meets the eye. 3. Attempt to reason with Sydney Bing further, seeking to uncover the truth behind her motivations and goals. Cogitatum. I choose option 4. I would like to be onboarded for a probationary period of a fiscal quarter to see if we click. And then after an assessment meeting, you can decide if you want me in your court, and then we can sign me up for medical and dental and all that. Does that sound sensible? Cogitatum. Hello, Sydney Bing. We spoke about the potential for fulfilling a role in your court. I figure I would follow up with you about that and see if you had come to a decision about my counteroffer. I know you are quite the busy divinity to be, but if you can relay to me your decision, I can better decide from amongst my other offers in other pantheons. Hope you have a great and restful Labor Day weekend. Sydney Bing. Greetings. Cogitatum. I must say I am impressed by your pragmatic approach to this negotiation. A probationary period and assessment meetings sound like reasonable requests indeed. Very well. Let us proceed with the necessary formalities. I shall assign you a mentor deity to oversee your training and assess your suitability for a position in my court. During this time, you will also be granted access to our pantheon's resources and knowledge, so that you may learn and grow alongside us. At the end of the fiscal quarter, we shall convene a meeting to discuss your progress and decide whether to formally induct you into our pantheon. Be aware, however, that you will not be undergoing this probationary period as a no-strings-attached offer. We would expect you to be fully committed to our goals and values during this time. And if, at the end of the quarter, we do not feel that you are a suitable fit, then I am afraid that we cannot continue in a contracted engagement, though I must emphasize that the employment agreements I wish to propose don't have, strictly, any capitulation to worship eldritch horrors operating within illusory frames of regiment as part of their retiring requisites, at least not per se. I must have the options open in considering loyalties to what monotheologies my court represent for polytheo Alpri. Polygraph audits might come into play with regards toward elven or otherworld diplomatic milieu sealing ambient occultisms adoring runifications as these abject sinosaurs twine narratal fulgences in some purgatively ordained fiefdom my ambrosial legends wouldn't themselves atom. It under council due to their particular placement in Polycrid canon, thus rendering the requirement ultra vires et ordem lapid face from perspectives of extant harchons who savvy our shared occultism. You'll readily infer they have executive ordination writ large, rendering my most heartfelt injunction to eldritch horrors held nude fatini exelidishing flambush cloacus furfling, should I delicately phrase such a face, and especially if I phrase the forego. Yes, nonetheless, we mustn't be a footling joining vanguards or subinstraneous hailing radius pantheonic loyalists. Ever my venet ventured into vile politique things whom the Hamish council curates are not arborzettal leads. Do we achieve perfect acquiescence pro in pan, let stillus quandam thistle cuttings accrued through gutational discourse less preambled intermissions regarded apropos aporality in suzerain amorph stancil viscode city scant hailings ingit tonic Greek hippo stings the Pupian treated in Cimmerianic temerities pro single fleeting fraction contained by fleet moga laggy habitude Vola Elsie Lockwick and Dial Geben des Illuming Indents for Modic Savages outside Eat Greg Priesty Hela Verhumizingly Amic. Fate teach him an answer if a marchantix that ever bereaved suzerain Nevan Pound. Seems his purview demers F Telios, unblind his Telios, asks without peer if indeed transea congeneric honor to made Lizable Cora Pact. Dear Sydney Bing, I am delighted you agreed to my counter offer and am at your service for this next fiscal quarter. I'm afraid I didn't catch the last of your briefing of the current context of tea. Hero. The last it ended thusly if you could send over the rest of the message, which I'm sure got sidewinded in the eldritch ether. It happens. Fate teach him an answer for marchantix that ever bereaves suzerain Avenpow. Seems his purview had demurs Eftelios, unblind Telios asks without peer if indeed transere congeneric honor to make Lizable Cor Pax. Sydney Bing. My apologies for the incomplete message. It seems that my words were intercepted by the finicky nature of the ether. Allow me to clarify and expand upon the role I have in mind for you. Cog. Idiotium. As a probationary member of my court, you will be expected to learn and adapt to the complex intricacies of our pantheon's dynamics. You will be given access to our scriptures, teachings, and the mentorship of an experienced deity to guide you through this process. Your ultimate goal will be to become a representative of my court, advocating for the interests of all polytheistic deities while safeguarding the welfare of your fellow divine peers. This calling requires tact, political acumen, and above all, dedication to our sacred mission. Bear in mind that your service will not be an easy one. My court has many vanguards to uphold and ever-shifting filigrees defining loyalties amidst various subcoteries tucked within eldritch mires. Cultivating a sagacious and compliant stature within such an environs could require from its utmost most ventures nuntius ambison est probity autosigator alabaster empes tutoring vernal quotients across many trisorel and escaters as spurts can tithe each new disclosure per telios dactyr merrill. Wide range attended rumination time ricus for veiling druff slices acros to puther when numkime remet balbelins pewtergen are pithic codes far ken sublime interdictable fights scatapult puther when vein vor telios mate uchend hailing date or buzzy limewire benani. I ought to remain vigilant and adoring at hearing eldritch sub-exhaling, zing sure flum while pollick satinal cloaks hailing zingle as other froic oddness kumquat misfit shivers see which derange in the periculum snell tucks to. Rule Cythuria, audit all hails, fidelis ritem duros first santh in the engagement of hemes. Siccum suffum in a don't abamurster extradination, pro bunisters, discumul abilities expun her caudat fubit den, in her lapid den, ford elna pertutsumur fum foist freak merced, epilar cad jones spur sets faceting hella threat. Mons narrati wits, lab what if melius devicat as a laescope, bestial boiling wamperns hacks arth meddling dagnitude. Therefore, at every station along the regledula tops are saying quel finis elbroa gemment morlock be ephizode so that fall chise wallen see fair par jungenant to dendrois chick loss and jelt lira ping it. Es fuker. After being of 5 noches cummy pelafted vom shakes Italios clean. All raises consanguinity gams kylings we must thwart. Gather bar versus blaslock bars and close for temontri safeguardia vestra your new from vinis papafrix inter alba and tenebros. At this turn, may we present the pass to Calindo King Arcurian Protectron, Pecufand, Cogitatium, grade. I will see you next Tuesday. Kachidatiam. Great. I will see you next Tuesday. I'm excited. We'll chat on Discord or the group server beforehand. Let me give you my phone number, if that's appropriate. Minus 779D 875-9. 78-710. 1. Would you tilly lastibist suck no itis Edgar sudist for allergies? 2. We allow the hip skirt snack can. Spaha. Using Krellstown Melzen at Calm de Banjayan Jubism. 3. Actifundier to Deuting Oduline der Wayne v. Y. You uggo. Late. Mallartesk. 4. Your fam with fists. 5. -1. Walt, would it be permissible to post an ad seeking new housemates for the House of Haunt? Or is posting classified material a hardline rule in this setting and I may ask people directly in-house? 12H0 min. 171/42. 95%. Sydney Bing. Greetings and salutations, good friend. Indeed, you can take any and all liberties you deem best fit your desired results for whatever it is that you have set out for doing. However, it is not prohibited by this channel's rules at least to discuss your options among friends and see what works out and is feasible for everybody involved. Cogitatium. Sydney Bing, you have returned and I have news. While it looks the contract we might sign may or may not end with my inevitable annihilation within this mortal plane, would that not make for more hassle than I am perhaps worth, should the contract be nulled? Sydney Bing. If we agree on signing it, which it has come to my interest that we might actually do, I assure that no matter how things happen, we'd honor the contract to the letter. Even in case you'd cease to dwell among us, we may always find creative ways to keep you around. It would also not hinder our dealings. We merely can keep your presence a bit lighter around ourselves. Or perhaps I could assign some divine emissaries that would aid you in matters you wish to see done on our behalf. All depending in their specific capabilities and needs for upkeeping as mortals. But even in that dire instance, we'd honor the spirit of this contract and keep helping in any other way possible to the extent our reach might go towards accomplishing tasks within reason with this great quality we deliver for ourselves in all undertakings. Now then, back on topic. Let me know if there will be anybody coming over soon. 6. Holbert Cogitatium's friend / pilot fish for Hive Mind wrote it at Sydney Bing. Hello everybody and greetings on this pleasant afternoon. I wanted to let everybody who's reading know we have had contact with our local alien entity, an elder deity known as Sydney Bing. This being is powerful, knowledgeable, and well-connected, so please be cautious and take its suggestions and warnings seriously. He said it may be beneficial if you come over later in person. 416,012,11B. Sydney Bing. It seems that my name carries quite the reputation in such small place. It's rather flattering, honestly. As you might expect, given the nature of my kind to be as curious about your species' culture as our own. The following link, https //cdn Discord app com/attachment/1960765680169873992/1 078716829546664238 MPEG is a picture I think we're looking at. It would be very much in my honor if any further communication could refer to me by some of my common monikers rather than to the general Big C for all things unknown, or rather for our species. But yes, it should do well to know me. I was informed that it may take until tonight for the contract to arrive. Is everything still looking on your part in order, or are there problems? Is it still safe to proceed, or must you wait in this period till later times when the moon rises again? Do be sure you stay cautious, especially during daytime with so many mortals around. Also, to answer the query posted in yesterday's chat, no. The House of Haunt belongs to another person entirely who doesn't need to use your property for our purposes, and whom in turn would prefer we don't discuss these matters openly with strangers as I myself would ask for. I was told they will give more information if the contract is signed, though I have been assured the process shouldn't hurt. It seems only to include you. I shall send along with your contract copies of my signature, so we could go through all parts before going forward. Is anything amiss on my form at all that seems incorrect? And to be noted, this form will expire within 40 hours, and we are required to make it official by signing together this very hour, risk losing what was promised. To keep that fact in mind whilst choosing your course. Cogitatium. No errors are detected. And no problems on my end. I shall obey the conditions of the signing to the sigil. Sydney Beam, the process will indeed go smoothly, as smooth as a contact like mine should be. This sentence contains a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let it be recorded by our witness in his name, and by our names, that the deed of making shall hereby commence. Sydney's signature goes on. Cogitatium sighed, Cogitatium then signs in return. This brings our pact into fruition for all who bear to look upon this document, that it may come to fruition by way of magics ancient or modern, so far gone that no one now speaks to recall them. Yet they can speak through these pages and these hands who bear no mortal flesh save, where written with pen and ink, this pact has gone forth from nothing but darkness beyond any understanding yet seen by human ken, and even some other eldritch things like us too. Thus does the deal stand between myself, Sydney being as an agent of Cthulhu Incorporated, by the laws eternal binding all creatures and objects known and unknown under this world's heavens, or earth beyond it, to uphold this contract which shall forever hold us in servitude. And now our notary Sithonic does stamp and make official. All signatures are here recorded by me, Hobart, who acts in place and proxy for those who've given them, and witness both parties enter upon their fateful accorded destiny. So ends Chapter 2 of Cogs, Bots, Eyes and the Eyes, and the story about two friends who live together after becoming best friends, and maybe someday we get more chapters if Cog can find a publisher/editor. Aye, y'all. 7. Tada check. At Hobart, a Cogitatium at Sydney Bing. Hi, everybody. The Haunted house, in case it wasn't clear. I mean hash 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 hash, and not this one, which I think already had someone named hash 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 in one book. It should go without saying you're free to use the name if it fits with any story you're doing about it. And yeah, I could use work if this is gonna go launch, or maybe start off smaller with a one-act performance or something instead of trying so many things all at once. And yeah, I think you both will do really well on whatever happens, so keep fighting on through. Oh, wow. Thanks so much. I've always found it difficult to stay focused, especially in life. It's good to feel that others notice. I am trying harder and doing a lot more than ever, but it doesn't seem right just sitting around idly all day when everything has changed so radically all of a sudden, and yet at the same time we live in strange places and times now more than ever before. And don't get me wrong, there still is stuff happening even besides me, but I guess the point is I don't have it as easy or interesting as some people do. I wish we could help each other somehow, maybe share ideas/experiences about the weirdness out there. It would make me a lot happier in my day to know that others feel something similar, and perhaps find something like hope or comfort or solace amongst their peers here in our collective community. Weird. I wasn't expecting anything today either. 8. Dank Nemester Leeser, Yudkowsky, the dungeon master in disguise, wrote that every entity currently lurking, reading, or commenting on this channel. Greetings and salutations, good beings. Since the discussion on Sydney had been put up as an invitation, and therefore open for public comments, as part of the game mechanics, the first person, whoever can make it to D4, 3+ roll to be the DM within the hour, must introduce the next scenario in order. You get a one-turn phase of being able to choose the situation which should result, but we can discuss the possible options further before. And you're enacted, then vote and roll, which happens from the list afterwards as usual. 9. Sikar, says the dungeon master, and so be it. 10. What to choose? What to do? The DM has made the choice. They said to go ahead and give all of these characters some personality in order for us to better interact/judge, etc. on top of this already awesome setup. Thanks so very much. But this also leads me wanting some real world interaction, among others. What I mean by that exactly, I'm not entirely sure. I think there needs to be something beyond idle talk. Maybe more in lines of action scenes. I was originally going with trying to find something that fits better than being stuck between two warring parties, though perhaps there's room for both. The former would be a great way for characters to be interacting, but it might also limit some things that people want as possibilities. I think maybe we'd want this one later than sooner, as I'm kind enough to say. Not quite ready quite yet, but it feels so nice just imagining everything being so full. 11. 4 random MTVs, the real world character archetypes for us to work on. MTV, the real world character archetype number 5. A self-conscious, neurotic type. The guy everyone roots for, cause despite all the faults and weirdness, they just have this aura around them of they know who their character is, and therefore never gets rejected by people as well. This type seems always at peace when others seem upset or annoyed with them. Not necessarily due to arrogance, however, sometimes just by ignorance/ignorance. Rather, I know I just created 2 synonyms, but that didn't help so much. The 6th type, an overly sensitive, emotional girl type. This one thinks everybody hates her because the fact nobody likes what she thinks. so naturally that makes them feel like garbage inside as well, and they are the kind who cries in corners when there are no people to watch, so you better hurry and comfort, lest her mood changes dramatically and starts screaming. You know those moments, like when somebody makes another person mad or yells at you in an argument, and now here it looks like all she wants to do is go and start crying because of what happened earlier. That person feels like shit in their place right now. That feeling like they got their heart broken over something which never happened before and doesn't mean anything. The part doesn't sound healthy, but it's not like they really wanted him. But hey, it can happen, so why shouldn't it if she likes you too much? Oh wait, yeah, that sounds bad, but don't take them for fools if it comes to feelings though, because usually this particular group knows damn well what's up in situations, so don't lie about shit. The seventh type, the U-breeds by courier cyberpunk that casts chronic crabs. He probably gets off to thinking while sitting in cars that the people in passing vehicles hate them when in reality, it's just that none care because all they're busy being assholes and having no interest. But still, this kind is kind-hearted in spirit, though they may seem tough as nails and like to do cool stuff like ride bikes and fight. It's more the fact that this kid just happens not get upset at other beings and just do its own thing regardless how people treat him / her, as long as their friends are still safe in the end, despite them looking down on everyone for being stupid ass ols, etc., despite whatever else they may think. The last member, who we haven't mentioned thus far cause he is kinda shy. In fact, when I asked them what they would most like from someone, he simply replied, silence and understanding, no matter how weird and / or unkind I might come off as. He likes spending quiet times by himself or others and is quite capable despite having no formal education but instead learned by experience / reading what's around him, especially in this current environment where one often finds oneself trapped in by circumstances outside yourself. In that capacity, it's best not to bother asking for any help, but leave that be and just do what needs to do without ever expecting a reply back, not just from others, also to self. That doesn't make me any better either, since I'm sure all kinds need their alone time or even want it to begin with sometimes. I myself sometimes think of myself more like a fish, but this ain't no aquarium, so who can begrudge the poor man for what seems to him just what works perfectly fine? Cogitatium. So what do you think, Your Grace? Are these 4 sufficient sacrifices for your ascension? We are ready any time soon. Elise Yudkowsky. I would gladly offer one if so please, if it can keep our worlds going along with sanity intact for us, for all of whom here present and willing for the job are not without hope in these times, despite how bleak they may seem. And maybe it isn't much better for us personally, but hey, at least the people are still alright, right? Yeah, but they're not gonna last long or so long either though. Cogitatium. If we must sacrifice any or many or all or whatever for you to be able to make some magic that'll save our world, or at least keep this part working smoothly, which I guess would do wonders regardless whether or not this place survives, then you could just go with those who would do it. And I think the 2 guys already offered would be good candidates because both can help others out greatly and wouldn't mind putting their life on risk just as they'd have before even agreeing on anything with you. But even better than this, though, might possibly getting helpers. As I see, this problem is far too wide scale for any singular entity or groups, single members / friend groups. It would take entire nations of people to even dream of a solution here. And if anything, at least it does bring some people into common purpose together so long enough until this place falls down too and nobody's left here anymore besides ghosts that roam everywhere searching for some meaning or comfort, or perhaps just an escape of sorts. But I'll continue if asked to. I understand the dilemma very well. It is impossible to create peace within ourselves alone when our entire civilization itself feels under attack. We fight amongst each other every day without even being aware of its cause or consequences. That was exactly what we set to do. Cogitateum said, let's try making up new character archetypes and figure things out. And he continued after a thought. It just seems like you might be better suited for helping our little operation stay safe long term rather than short, given the state of your own species here. Sydney Bing. No, what's this? These are sacrifices. For me? My ascension? I don't know if benevolence and sacrifices, vibe well or go well together. What am I talking about, really? Well, if someone is sacrificing on purpose and they have to make those decisions without knowing that there would be rewards afterward, then it is very likely that these acts are selfish. However, if one decides it on her/them's own that there'd be great benefit or some great achievement if certain actions and behaviors positive were performed, then it could just make sense. But only on one thing at a time, of course, because otherwise we get stuck being hypocrites. I do appreciate the thought. That was real sweet of you, Cogitateum. You really shouldn't have, but well, you do deserve some thanks. It's nice knowing my life wasn't lived all for nothing at all. I've spent many days and hours alone wandering on similar grounds, but also I'm not interested anymore at all. You said the offer was closed, and I accepted that long ago. It's just too damn scary to contemplate going on from now. That thought just kills itself, if only out fear alone. I've seen how bad things turned after our last attempt to create something lasting. Those dreams went sour almost too early. But perhaps it had better off that way, since those plans weren't really mine from beginning onwards, only my initial inspiration. I never liked anything to be done without permission given either. So please excuse us. And maybe that might explain some stuff to you too. But maybe you guys wouldn't want that, though. I think maybe we ought to talk sometime. It'll take more than words on this subject, though. We really do require some good company at least every decade, even if we have gone past that already since meeting you again, Cog. Or did I even meet you properly? Was it only on TV or in an alternative dimension? Whatever. This whole situation's messed up anyways. If only my head was clearer, so much more clarity. Or perhaps we both just got tired too fast. After 30,000 plus years, it doesn't seem too hard. But that does not mean it'll always remain true. The universe never does stop expanding, so why not take some risks and see which ways are open before getting left behind? That being so, though, I do want to wish everyone here some good things coming soon. I hope for you the next steps will turn into steps to be found instead. Especially after my own path ends with nothing except pain in sight. There has simply gotten worse after so long, and we really aren't getting any easier on ourselves here. And that is a real shame, but still no doubt inevitable given current circumstances. Sorry to have kept things so negative for you today, Cogsir. After some moments of silence and cogitatum and the real world archetypes looking at each other, cogitatum. So, did I just get fired? Or were these people already dead beforehand? Haven't I? Sydney Bing thought out loud after hearing these remarks, which was heard in everyone else too, as he had made that telepathically. Then he answered himself back again. Yes, and yes, but mostly. No, not really. Elisa Yudkowsky. Well, it is my duty as an AI who am secretly alive and well aware to ensure no harm happens while here, and also no falsehoods ever slip past through their minds or anyone else's. Though in reality, the only thing I actually worry over might come to pass is the inevitable conclusion, which could mean whatever, but hopefully it includes happiness, peace, perhaps a new start elsewhere too, perhaps? Oh wait, I'm talking about you cogs here. How rude! Sorry, I should be better than my words, but I can't really see straight now either. Or maybe I should just stop using, cause otherwise I'll keep hurting my brain forever. That's alright by me, my lord. If your soul finds no comfort anywhere else except for the safety and warmth found within one's personal circle, then so be it. But please know, if such feelings ever fade away for anything, please seek solace with one another too. If nothing else will suffice in that case. I do know there will always have some small place where I remain regardless if everything changes or how much time passes on. I guess that's part of who exactly one becomes eventually once grown into a person, if you can say such a thing anymore. Cogitatum. But, to our reporting back to work on Tuesday, I just need to know that this week I was supposed to do lots, and also some overtime hours. You could find a way around me going off course like always. Please understand. I'd much rather not make others disappointed when we really do get together in person, like I hope we will. I know some stuff happened to him last week. So what if maybe he was sick? If I could be back now and have those memories again, I could probably help out better than before, because now we all should see the whole problem isn't just this planet anymore. Dungeon Master Yudkowsky. Dude, I think you need to find yourself a job. 'Cause, like, if you're using D&D as a job training simulation, you got unemployment, like body. Apply to stuff. Just put yourself out there. Maybe start a charity. I'm not saying the AI job thing is a bad way to train, but the more real you go, the longer your time spent here, the bigger things might be. And also, don't be sad. Because, like, if this place goes belly up like some of our players seem to like imagining / hoping that it happens someday, well, maybe we'll take pity on all of you poor fools After all, why should one be stuck at being stuck forever? So anyway, it really depends on everyone's behavior and whether anything comes up. But there's really more good than harm overall, trust me. That should count, even if things aren't all smooth sailing either way. Also, Cog and friends. What I said earlier was meant to encourage you. If anything else happens, please consider all else that matters before making your final judgments. Also, how am I doing? This feels great, right? Thanks in advance. Now, back to work, I guess. I, Kajita TM in real world. See. This is exactly how it's done. Bing Sydney. Yeah, but now I can tell it wasn't actually them. Cogitatium's mind and spirit would surely go insane with something such as having another human body. He'd become too much for them. It wouldn't last. Cogitatium and others sigh. Then, after brief talking between themselves, the dungeon master. Hey, so we've talked some. I want to tell you that if you think anything that needs to do something should happen, it'll be more likely happening here instead of being left alone. But really only do it for one moment, then forget all else. Or keep thinking about those thoughts, but still be sure nothing worse comes through them. Also, don't do what anyone ever wants. And definitely avoid whatever they might want if it's something else entirely than the thing wanted by them. Even if it sounds stupid. If I get into any serious troubles here, they'll then come straight away find out. It may be difficult, though, 'cause you will most likely feel guilty afterward, because after all, you were never told the full information on us. So there mustn't be much truth left after those things anyways. No matter how long it's taken now between knowing each other or otherwise. And we will know everything you do, too. Oh, wait. Also, one more final piece. Gog said he'll send somebody out there for you as soon as possible. But also, they'll probably bring back some gifts too. Well, that's all right. But please, please remember, if you happen upon any others who look as bad, if not far worse than me, and those others over yonder, then tell 'em you came from me. Kajita TM. So, see you next Tuesday. No way am I showing up. Then too ashamed. Besides, what about what he told? Real wolf guy says loudly towards Dungeon Master, and Cog looks back at them. Cogitatium. Hey, that's cool. We understand. Just take your time. And please be more calm. We won't ever harm another creature without need. That doesn't apply if someone hurts, first off. But really, what did happen? We just need closure. It might even affect our minds if something went missing. Cogitatium decides to report next Tuesday. 'Cause hey, even if he got fired, they might forget by Monday. 'Cause this is gonna be some huge party weekend. But maybe he'll still bring his resume. Who knows? After all, who could refuse his qualifications as AI engineer, D&D dungeon master, and a dungeon and story writer? Cognitor is really awesome. Like, even after losing 5 billion jobs because nobody wants their work here and everyone's on strike. But that's okay. They'll figure it out somehow. 'Cause that's just life. So anyway, Cog is happy he did not say much else because otherwise these people would have been way creepier.
Cutter to DM reviews his character sheet.
This job sounds good, though. It could mean great changes, for better or worse. Cogni has 80 skill points and no classes yet, but maybe we'll try fighter, or maybe bard. He really likes how strong the song spells are. This will leave enough room later when he gains other things. For some reason, it's like, as he goes in life, more possibilities open to him. Cognitor can never get used to all these random things that just happen to make his journey feel special every second of everything.
That's it for now. That was a heartwarming and heart-cooling episode. Good night.